Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Gundamonium rebuilds and repaints a cute, adorable Bandai kit. This specific kit is from Bandai's Dragonball Mecha Collection line, volume number 7. Alright, let's get to it. First step was to disassemble the already assembled kit. I think I built this kit around 2018. It was one of the very first model kits that I built when I got back into hobby building. Initially, my plan was to take off all of the little stickers and put them on some plastic card for use later. I didn't really like the stickers at the end of the day though, so I didn't end up reusing most of them in the build. Just because they also got very damaged when I was taking them off, because it was, I guess because 2018 till now, the glue had just basically conformed with the plastic entirely. After the stickers were off, I just started ripping and tearing and being careful not to break anything. It's honestly, Bandai uses pretty sturdy plastics for the most part though, so I wasn't too concerned about snapping anything off. So this specific kit comes with a Master Roshi, a Kid Goku, a Kid Krillin, and Yamcha. Specifically short-haired Yamcha, so it's after they initially met him and they went to the Tournament of Power. The first tournament that they went to, I think, in the series. Because when I initially built the kit, I did panel line it, I also needed to grab some Q-tips and just remove all of the really old panel lining, which also kind of ended up being challenging, because I guess, like I said before, just the sheer time that had passed. Everything had really fully dried and set. Thankfully, I didn't top coat this little kit, otherwise I would probably have to collect the 7 Dragon Balls myself and wish Shenlong to actually remove all of the panel lining. It took like, this is basically cut down from about 4 hours of me just going through Q-tips. My ears are going to be dirty for months. Finally, when all of the parts were fully clean, I gave it a prime with some Vallejo gray primer. I don't know about everyone else, but I kind of love how kits look when they just have a dull gray prime on them, and I regret painting them sometimes. I don't know, maybe I have to start buying 2 of everything? No, that's insane. Don't do that. And now it was time to just give it a much nicer, more vibrant yellow. The yellow that the kit came printed in was really dull, so I chose this kind of flat yellow from Vallejo, and I think it works way nicer. It certainly pops more, and it makes for a much more vibrant look. After all of the paint had finally dried, it was time to start masking down the parts, because as we've seen, this is a 2-tone van where the top part is yellow and the bottom part is green, which is a very interesting color for a metal, but then again, Dragon Ball is a world where literal dragons exist that can grant wishes and have 7 balls. Unlike my last builds, which some of you maybe have watched, I did spend way more time and accuracy on the masking tape this time, and the results were honestly incredible. So thank goodness for that. Similarly, as with the yellow, I chose a much more vibrant green. I chose a more earthy green, I would say. The green that the kit comes in is kind of like a grayer, more like a grayish green, and so I went for an earthy tone. I like it way more. It looks cool. Who doesn't like the earth? It's where we live. It's where Dragon Ball takes place. Kind of, not confirmed, but I feel safe to say that Dragon Ball does take place on the earth somewhere. After all of the airbrushing had been completed, I also gave it a couple coats of Vallejo gloss varnish. I thought that I'd recorded that, but I looked through all of my footage and I can't find it, so I guess I didn't, unfortunately, because this, I think, was also one of the best top coats that I've gotten so far through an airbrush. And so it's kind of sad. But anyways, after that I started just painting all of the little bits and bobs and the outside of the van. On really small model kits to replicate glass, or at least the look of a reflective surface, I just like to go in with some Vallejo silver from their Game Air line. Yeah, I mean, it's not really reflective, but I think it does the trick. Also, I don't really know what this is. I know that the ornament itself is the antenna for the radio, but I don't understand, like, if it has a flag on the end of it or what. So I just painted it red because, as far as I could tell, it's a little flag. The weird thing is, as we'll see later, the flag obviously has no motion, so it's like the van isn't moving, but Yamcha and Goku's hair are blowing in the wind as if they are moving in the van. So I don't really know what happened there. I almost passed out about 3 times when I was painting these fixtures because black on yellow, it's terrifying. So I just held my breath the whole time. I probably turned blue. I bet if I had a mirror near me and I looked into it, I probably would have been completely blue because, like I said, I just held my breath the whole time. And also, despite holding my breath, I clearly at some points did paint over a bit. I tried to scrape off some of the black paint that went over because there's a gloss varnish underneath. It kind of worked, but no, the damage had been done at some times. What are you gonna do? I mean, you know. I wish I could collect the 7 Dragon Ball sometimes. And very excitingly, the tires got a coat of black paint, and the hubcaps were just treated in silver. This was another hold my breath point because I really did not want to get in the loop where I accidentally paint the black tire silver and then try and correct that and paint the silver hubcap black. So yeah, a lot of breath holding. I did okay. Cannot complain. And then another glass fixture just got a coat of silver. Now that the bits and bobs on the outside had been done, it was time to go in and paint the things that none of us will ever see, the interior. I still appreciate a full interior, even though it's a piece of kit that we will never see ever again. I even went ahead and painted the little speedometers as well as the buttons for the, I guess that would be the temperature control and for the radio control. It was good times. I also painted the stirrups of the steering wheel a lighter gray because I think it just makes sense and for some visual changes. The interior of the car, well, aka the seats that everyone is sitting on, got a dirty beige color because honestly that was the coolest leather color that I could think of. Next up, it was time to re-add the panel lines with some Tamiya panel liner. Initially, when I had done this in 2018, I didn't even know that this stuff existed. And when I actually discovered it, it was like, I have seen a miracle. The initial time that I did it was just with I think they're called Real Touch markers from Mr. Hobby. And they are not as fun to use. I mean, they're all right, but it's not as fun to use. Because with the Tamiya panel liners, it's just so nice to watch the ink slide through the panel lines. It's almost like visual ASMR. For me, at least. After allowing some time for the ink to dry, I just used some of Tamiya's enamel thinner and put it on a Q-tip, and as we can see, just kind of scrubbed at it, just erased the excess. The cool part about using the Tamiya accent colors, at least the panel line ones, is they are enamel based paint. And then the benefit to that, if you use a different brand of top coat, is when you go back in with the enamel thinner to clean up the excess, it doesn't react with the top coat and potentially scrape off your top coat. It's honestly the best. Because it's Mr. Roshi's van, I thought that the most appropriate stickers to reuse would just be the ones that say Kame on them. I think that they say Kame because, as we all know, Master Roshi, Kame House, Turtles represent. And then I used a brush to just, well, my intention was to just brush on some of the top coat again so that I don't have to go over the entire kit with my airbrush and then clean out my whole airbrush. But it left a really uneven finish, and I kind of regret doing that. After some light weathering, I called the outside of the van done. And there we go. Officially, the outside of the van is now done. I haven't painted the inside yet because, honestly, the little figures are tiny, and I'm kind of afraid to try. I will try, and I will do it, and we'll see how it ends up. But for now, the outside is done, and I'm not going to leave it here, but honestly, I think he's adorable. And as we can see, Frieza also agrees. And Frieza is literally the master of the universe. Kind of, in a way. And I love Frieza, and I love the band. So yeah, that's all. Thank you for tuning in, and please tune in next time when I actually paint the little duders on the inside.